These hills may look peaceful from a distance, but as the sun climbs higher into the sky, every sign suggests that wild boars are becoming increasingly active throughout the area. From the dry, grassy slopes to the dense brush at the foot of the hills, they can appear almost anywhere. Throughout today's journey, we kept encountering unexpected opportunities, and every situation brought an entirely different challenge. It didn't take long to spot the first target. On an open hillside, a wild boar was moving slowly through patches of low grass. The distance was favorable, and the view was almost completely unobstructed. After a few moments of watching to determine its direction of movement, the right opportunity finally arrived. The first encounter of the day ended quickly, but it was only the beginning. As we continued along the rolling hills, it soon became clear that this area was far more active than we had expected. Just a few minutes later, another group of wild boars suddenly appeared. This time, it wasn't a solitary animal. Several wild boars began moving in the same direction from below the slope. The uneven terrain caused them to appear and disappear repeatedly behind small rises in the ground. The hunting party held their position, waiting patiently for the right moment. When the herd finally crossed an open section of the hillside, the opportunity arrived. Everything that followed happened incredibly fast, and the outcome exceeded all expectations. After a brief period of silence, an unexpected movement appeared just ahead. A wild boar suddenly sprinted across the hillside at remarkable speed. No one expected the encounter to happen so abruptly. A short chase immediately began. The animal repeatedly changed direction, using the rugged terrain to create distance. But in the end, it reappeared at very close range, creating one of the most intense moments of the video so far. If the earlier encounters allowed at least some time to prepare, this one unfolded in the blink of an eye. As we were moving along the hillside, a wild boar suddenly burst out of the dense brush ahead. The distance was so short that every reaction had to happen almost instantly. It was the kind of situation where you only have a few seconds to make a decision. Just when it seemed the surprises were over, the next hill delivered an even more exciting moment. Two wild boars appeared almost simultaneously near the top of the slope. The instant they noticed human presence, they bolted downhill in completely different directions. That single moment made the entire situation far more unpredictable. What followed became one of the day's most impressive displays of teamwork. Up to this point, we had witnessed every kind of encounter imaginable, but the real challenge was still ahead, because the next time, it wouldn't be only the wild boar that appeared. On a broader hillside, a lone wild boar appeared in the distance. At first, everything unfolded much like the earlier encounters. But only seconds later, the situation changed completely. The barking of hunting dogs echoed from behind. Almost instantly, the pursuit escalated to an entirely new level. Now everyone's attention was focused on the chase unfolding below. The wild boar repeatedly tried to shake off the dogs by racing across steep hillsides and constantly changing direction. But the pressure from behind continued to grow. The pursuit became faster and more intense with every passing moment, until finally, the boar charged down a long slope in a desperate attempt to escape. That was also the moment its journey came to an end. After all of those tense moments, the next scene felt completely different. At the foot of the hill, a wild boar was calmly foraging for food. It seemed completely unaware of everything that had happened around the area throughout the day. That peaceful moment didn't last long. Within seconds, another opportunity appeared. As the sun slowly disappeared behind the distant hills, we thought today's journey had finally come to an end. But nature always seems to have one last surprise in store. Darkness settled quickly. In an open area near the base of the hill, a wild boar was drawn toward a remaining food source. It appeared more cautious than any of the others we had encountered, constantly stopping to look around, constantly checking its surroundings. It seemed to sense that something wasn't quite right. Yet in the end, it still took a few more steps forward. And that became the final moment that brought today's journey across these wild hills to a close. From unexpected encounters on the hillsides to high-speed pursuits across long, rugged slopes, every landscape presented a different challenge. That's exactly what makes journeys like this so unpredictable until the very last moment. And perhaps, somewhere beyond the next hill, an even more unforgettable encounter is waiting. In a sparse forest in the state of Texas, feral hog hunts often begin very early, around 6 a.m. We do not move randomly, but instead rely on very specific signs found in nature. Freshly uprooted soil, recently left droppings, or even their distinct scent in the air all reveal their presence. However, feral hogs are extremely alert animals. They can detect humans through scent, sound, or even the slightest movement. That is why we must always remain calm, move slowly, and constantly observe our surroundings to avoid exposing our position. But once we realized the scale of the herd had grown beyond the control of individual hunters, we were forced to shift toward military-style tactics. The approach always begins from the outer edge of the area. We stop to inspect equipment, study the terrain, and determine wind direction. A scouting team moves ahead first, advancing slowly while maintaining distance. The remaining teams enter in space formations, avoiding loud noise. The movement rhythm always follows the same cycle. Move, stop, observe, continue. The objective is not to immediately locate the hogs, but to control the area and determine the position of the entire herd. After that, we continued toward a carefully calculated interception point, a dirt road running through the forest. The team had already arrived earlier, holding positions in an area with better visibility and fewer obstacles. Sparse woodland on both sides provided just enough cover while still allowing us to see through it. We did not move. We simply waited for any sign of activity. Meanwhile, deep within the forest, the herd was gradually being pushed outward. Once they left the dense cover and moved toward the trail, everything entered the control phase. Every decision had to ensure safety, maintain a clear line of sight, and eliminate unnecessary risks. Before the herd reached the interception point, another team quietly approached from the west side. The thick layer of dry leaves meant every step had to be carefully calculated. The team did not move directly forward, but instead advanced in an arc formation, using tree trunks as cover points. We did not apply heavy pressure, only enough to make the hogs feel unsafe and slowly shift toward the predetermined direction. This not only pushed the situation toward the interception point, but also allowed us to respond immediately on site if an opportunity appeared. Just when everything seemed to be going according to plan, an unexpected situation occurred. After being pressured for some time, the final individuals suddenly broke away from the herd's direction and turned back uphill, exactly the survival instinct of animals accustomed to danger. We were forced to react immediately, attempting to cut them off and block them along a narrow trail. Every decision at this moment had to be absolutely precise, because just 1 second too late, and the targets would disappear completely. Once the situation was under control, everything slowly returned to silence. The team began rechecking the entire surrounding area to ensure no risks remained. The equipment was packed away, and the captured animals were handled carefully to avoid affecting the surrounding environment before we climbed into the Toyota Land Cruiser and returned to base. Because the level of destruction and cunning had exceeded ordinary control measures, professional teams using organized strategies were brought in. Vehicles such as tracked machines, ATVs, and UTVs were used to move through difficult terrain. In cases of deep mud or unstable ground, excavators and small bulldozers were deployed to clear paths, reinforce the terrain, and create access routes. Large trap systems, surveillance cameras, and portable power sources were also established to maintain long-term control over the area. Every team member receives formal training in reconnaissance and situational response. We are trained in observation, planning, and teamwork. Every mission involves clearly assigned roles, from scouting and area control to handling unexpected situations. Discipline and patience are essential factors, preventing us from acting recklessly and ensuring we always wait for the right moment. And when that moment arrives, the most important factor is stability. We must keep our bodies steady and minimize unnecessary movement. Vision must remain clear, focused on a specific point rather than wandering aimlessly. Breathing is carefully controlled to avoid affecting our actions. Every movement is deliberate and controlled, never rushed. Everything ends as cleanly as it began, and by the next day, the forest once again returns to its natural silence. But we understand one thing clearly. This work is never truly finished. In the end, what determines success is not luck, but careful preparation. The temperature is holding at 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Every team member is wearing bright orange protective gear, carrying official identification required under Japan's strict regulations, and equipped with GPS units and first aid kits. We are using the traditional Oyama strategy, deploying highly trained hunting dogs to flush targets out from their hiding places. 8:15 a.m. The team moves deep into a dense bamboo forest. I take the lead position, The dogs are working at full capacity, circling, cutting off routes, and blocking escape paths. The pace intensifies with every passing second. Then it appears, a wild boar weighing around 150 pounds. Injured, but far from defeated. The dogs bark relentlessly, applying pressure from every direction. My heart pounds with every sharp bark echoing through the forest. Maintaining a safe distance of less than 15 feet, I slowly move closer. Then comes the decisive moment. Quick, precise. The target is completely subdued. No mistakes, no injuries, a clean execution. The first mission is complete. But in this forest, everything can change in an instant. 11 a.m. Moving deeper into the forest is beginning to drain the team's energy. Wild boars tend to follow established trails, and the dogs have successfully picked up the scent of another animal. Suddenly, barking erupts ahead. I move forward one careful step at a time. The dry leaves beneath my boots. One careless sound could destroy our entire advantage. Easy, easy. Beneath a tangle of fallen bamboo stalks, the target lies motionless. I signal the team. The formation tightens. Only after confirming every detail. At the same time, on the opposite side of the forest, Yamada is holding the final blocking position, the critical defensive line. No target can be allowed to slip through. Working alongside the hunting dogs, he monitors every possible escape route. Everything remains under control, until suddenly, the barking explodes. Violent, relentless. A massive boar charges from the distance at terrifying speed, clearly intending to attack. His heart races. Every sense locks onto the target. As the distance closes to 20 feet, a sharp activation sound cuts through the forest. The animal collapses instantly before it can harm any of the dogs. The sudden noise throws the remaining boars into panic. They turn and flee into dense cover filled with dead wood and tangled vegetation. Yamada's team immediately follows the trail. Then, without warning, the dogs erupt into frantic barking, signaling something truly dangerous ahead. In a split second, a wild boar weighing more than 250 pounds burst from cover like a storm, straight toward Yamada. Yamada stands firm, unshaken. His eyes remain locked on the target. 10 feet. Closer. Right now. A sharp activation, sound slices through the air. The boar's charge is stopped instantly. But Yamada does not let his guard down. In this forest, every moment of silence could be the sign of another storm waiting to emerge. 3:30 p.m. The team pushes deeper into an area where the vegetation is thicker and more overgrown than anywhere we have searched so far. He listens carefully to his own breathing mixing with the sound of dry leaves crunching beneath his feet. Ahead, the dogs weave through dense brush, barking continuously to apply pressure and force the target from its hiding place. The moment the animal bursts from the trees and enters a narrow opening directly ahead, Yamada does not hesitate. He knows exactly what must be done. The animal stops instantly. The flawless coordination between the dogs and Yamada's calm precision creates a perfect outcome. 4:45 p.m. The temperature drops rapidly to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I climb onto a high rocky outcrop. The perfect position, a clear view of the entire area. Now patience becomes the most important tool. No rush. Just wait. Time passes slowly. Every second feels endless. Wait, there's movement. In the distance, the final wild boar slowly approaches. It has no idea I am here. I zoom in through the scope and lock onto the target. A sharp sound echoes across the mountains, and all movement stops.